Can I have this up here?
Yeah. Depends on what's in it.
I know. Coffee. Coffee.
Go ahead and start with the opening statement from Coach.
You guys want an opening statement?
Go to the question, sorry.
So week 3, we just had a couple days off. We ended up taking 3 days as kind of like a fall break, just to kind of, this is our last probably weekend that we'd be able to take off until after, hopefully until whenever we finish, hopefully late into March or April. But so yeah, we took off and kind of let everybody kind of get their legs back after a couple of good weeks of practice. And this weekend is the Maroon and Gold Showcase. That's at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Doors open at noon. Should be a great day on campus. There's a lot going on. I know that there's a volleyball match that night, and I think both men's and women's hockey play as well. I think swimming and diving have a meet as well. So it should be a fun day on campus, and we're happy to be a part of it. It's free admission, and we'll do some autographs after we scrimmage our practice team. So it should be a good one. Should be a good event. Get to kind of have a scrimmage open practice type thing where we get to do kind of a trial run on some different things that we want to do. So it should be good. We're looking forward to it. So we'll be preparing this week essentially for that event on Saturday all week. Anybody?
How much of your time can you spend on recruiting right now?
Yeah, a good chunk of the week is dedicated to recruiting and dedicated to just either watching video or phone calls. So, I would probably say that's always there's certain parts of the year that it's way more that you're focusing on, obviously in the when you're not in season. But I would say now I try to do a little bit, to be honest, every night and every week we have different things that we're doing. So it's daily for sure. It's just as far as right now, we're really focused on our team and what we're trying to build for this season as well. So, yeah, it's always in the mix. It's always a huge part. But
has that been one of the surprises of the job for you so far? How much time that consumes?
I knew it was a bigger part than, say, what a WNBA coach would have to do. So I knew that there was more to it than in the WNBA. But I would say it's something that I was prepared for. There's different times where you're out recruiting that those are really long days. I probably wasn't prepared for that to sit in a gym for 12 to 14 hours a day. But you get used to it.
You, from the little we've seen in practice, you've been going a lot with Kenesha and Brunson as your backcourt. Mm-hmm. Not really a big group, not a lot of size, but very quick. I mean, how does that fit into what you want to do, that quickness in the backcourt?
Well, with what we have this year for those two guys in particular, I think that's one of their biggest strengths will just be their quickness and their tenacity, both defensively on the ball and in the passing lanes, and then offensively their ability to create. So I think that the way that we want to pressure the ball and do a little more dictating on defense, or do as much as we can, I think that'll suit those guys really well. So that's something that we've tried to instill in them, and they've been doing a great job. And so it'll be exciting to see as we start to play against not only just ourselves in practice and the scout team, against other teams, how well they are and how much they're able to dictate on both sides of the ball.
They can both handle the ball too, right?
Yeah. I think I tell them all the time, one of my favorite things was when I would be able to play with another point guard. And when I played, just whoever gets the ball, bring it up. And so to me, that having that luxury is great. I always enjoyed playing with somebody else that could handle the ball. In college, it was Shannon Schoenrock for several years. In the WNBA, Katie Douglas, we'd have Simone bring it up at times as kind of the other two guards that I would play with. And those guys were more strictly twos. But I think that those two, I think, will really complement each other a lot.
So Brunson is a player whose importance could really jump from last year to this.
She's going to have to, for sure. It's going to have to. she's a vocal leader on the team. She leads by example. She's able to get to the basket. She's been improving on her mid-range jumper, which the last week it looked really good. When she was able to get to the free throw line, it was when she shot it, we were all pretty confident that it was going to go in. So that's something that she's worked on really hard, and as well as just reading the game, and I think getting more confidence, I think, is big for her. So we'll just continue to work with her, and I expect her to have a really big influence on the team.
How is Ty fitting in offensively?
Ty does a lot of the things that when it's unscripted and whether it's in a fast break situation or she's getting offensive rebounds. And so she'll just make a play and that no one else on the team can really make, as far as just jumping over somebody for a rebound or just her tenacity on the glass has been great. So now with her, it's just the muscle memory of our plays and what we're doing, what we're asking her to do. It's a lot more in the high post area. It's a lot more high-low. She's a great driver, especially rip going left, because that's through her strong hand. So working with her and figuring out those moments to use that, but then as well as not really restricting her where she feels like she can't just go make a play and go get an O board and make a hustle play for us. So she's been good. She's been great to work with, and I think she's been getting better every day.
Lindsay, when you go through recruiting so far, what sense do you get as to how important it is to recruits, to kids, when you talk to them, as to what kind of year the Gophers are going to have coming up? How you'll do successfully as far as the wins and losses and
to the recruits, how I'm going to explain how we're going to do this year.
Well, what's your sense as to the importance of that in their minds?
I think it's very important. I mean, I think if it's we've recruited, we've been working hard, but a lot of it will be determined on the court and how we play and how we are as a team. So it'll be very important. It always is, because that's that's what people are watching. That's what people come to see. So yeah, it'll be important for us. Nice shades. At least it's sunny outside. At least we have to wear sunglasses this week. Last week was, it was terrible.
Any other questions for Coach?
I know you have some.
Do you have any concern early on that you're kind of looking more of a backcourt oriented team, and how you may combat that if other teams are kind of recognizing that?
Well, I mean, I think that's one of our strengths. So we want to make sure we're playing to that, and we're trying to instill some confidence and maybe some players who didn't get as much of a chance last year. So trying to work with them and make sure that they understand they're going to be a huge part of the team. Whether it's Ty or Annalise, those guys, we need them to have big years for us. So we definitely want to instill that confidence in them and make sure that we're kind of putting everybody in a position where they can feel pretty good. And so, but yeah, I mean, when you have dynamic players in the backcourt, it's what's, sometimes, we'll go to our strengths, but, obviously we're working on all aspects. So, we'll kind of adjust and see how things go as we get going into games.
What will be the biggest difference in her game offensively in terms of where she gets her shots from last year?
I think for Pitts, I think working off the dribble will be important. Just tightening up her ball handling and just where she can play in spots more than just. I don't want to say she was just that, but just a spot up shooter, because she's obviously great at that. But I think defense running at her, being able to create something off the dribble, will be really important for her to keep on getting better.
Do you have anything concrete in terms of your expectations and what you want to see from Kanisha this year, whether it's certain numbers or accolades or just what you want to see from her on the floor?
I want Key to have a great season, and one of the things that Cheryl did with me when I think it was 2010, 2011, she wanted, I might have said this last week, but she wanted me to average what I averaged my best year in the WNBA in practice. And so she charted it every day in practice, and to treat those practices like they were games. And so I think for a young player, that's really important. So I think that's what I told her, and I said it took my game to another level. And so I was like, I really want you to focus on that this year in practice, because we have essentially 6 weeks of practice before we play our first real game. So that's a lot of time. You can kind of look in the distance and say we're not playing for 6 weeks, but when there's a tangible kind of goal and expectation every day, I think that, and she's shown in the game she's tremendously talented, so now it's just working on that every day, so she's even better when it comes to those games.
What's been the biggest surprise for you as a coach, different than being a player?
Oh man, I don't know. What's been the biggest difference?
Yeah, biggest surprise, I guess.
Probably not, as a player, you're physically trying to prepare your body for practice, but now it's like I'm planning practice, I'm watching video, I'm breaking the video down, doing all those things that are outside of just the practice time, and then seeing, okay, what we need to work on, and then putting together a practice plan is the biggest difference, because as a player, you just make sure you're feeling as good as possible for that day, and then whatever the coaches tell you, you work on. And so now I'm in charge of all that. So I guess that's probably the biggest thing.
Have you changed your routine, Lindsay, as far as personally, since you stopped playing, as far as, how you eat, how much you work out, what you do?
I probably took like a month or 6 weeks off where I didn't work out at all because I just didn't want to. And it's the first time in like 20, 25 years where I didn't have to work out. And so I kind of took some time, but then all my clothes started fitting a little tighter. And so I decided that I was going to work out a little more. So the last week I've gotten back into a workout routine, but I have to wake up at like 6 to work out now. So that's hard for me.
What kind of routine do you have? Do you try to run like a certain number of miles per week, or? I
have this elliptical machine. It's a workout device at my house that I use. And I watch SportsCenter in the morning for a half hour.
How much time would you typically spend on the machine?
30 minutes. And then I'm done for the day.
Every day?
Most days. Yeah, most days. A lot different than when I was a player, though. A lot easier on the knees, not however many hours, so yeah. This year I think I don't know, I have to find a routine for myself for coaching because I don't know what's going to work yet. So maybe 1 month I'll work out, maybe 1 month I won't, and depending on if we win, I'll just keep that same routine. And if we aren't winning, then I'll probably change it.
Anything else for Coach?
I came prepared, thanks.
Thanks.
You guys coming to practice?
What time is it?